thank you for joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sure. I start? Yeah. I'm Guillaume Cerda and I'm associate producer on the game.
Me too. I'm Gregory Hermittant and I'm also an associate producer in the game.
Great. Would you like to tell us a little bit about Valiant Hearts, the Great War?
Valiant Hearts, it's a 2D adventure game, 2D puzzle adventure game, following the destinies of different characters. Actually, it's a cross destinies between several characters. And the beginning of the story is kind of a broken love between a young German soldier and a French girl.
What did you guys use for inspiration for the game?
Actually, it's mainly Paul Tumler, our artistic director, and Johan Fanis, our content director. First, Paul came with the idea of the game a long time ago, when he was working on the UR framework. And Johan, great grandfather, did the Great War, and actually he gave to his grandmother all his letters, the letters he sent to his wife at the time, the letters but also the documents. And you can't imagine how emotional it is to read a letter. You can, when you read it, you can see that it's from the front, and even the document about the military document about how got shot, how he was wounded. It's very cold and it's very surprising, and when you read the letter on the other side, honestly, it gives you chills, really, and that's that part that we wanted to put in the game, that kind of emotion. So after this we grabbed a lot of documents, objects, also for the First World War, and a lot of letters actually, and pictures, and we have kind of our small museum directly in the team, with some shelves.
I have some picture to share with you.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about each of the characters and where they fit in the story?
Sure. So at the beginning, it's Emile. Emile is a farmer, and he lives with his daughter Marie and his son, and Marie's fiancé, Carl. So this young German, and then suddenly the war begins, and Carl is sent out of the country. So Marie's heart is broken, and Emile is mobilized by the French army, and he will go to war. And on the other side, you have Freddy. Freddy is an American volunteer in the foreign French army. That's why he's here since 1914, when the American came in 1970. And we have Hannah, our Belgian nurse. So she's studying in Paris, and she will heal everyone, no matter which side they are. That's something that is very important for us.
Yeah.
We want to be kind of humanist. We don't have to have bad guys in the story. That's all the characters you will see, you saw today.
Tell us about the dog.
And the dog is Walt.
Yeah, Walt is the best friend of the adventure, because he's almost always here, always with our characters, and he helps them to distract enemies or to find some items, collectibles, or sometimes to dig and find stuff to help me, Freddy, or different characters to progress during the adventure. So it's a really helpful and touching character.
So yeah, please tell me the dog doesn't die.
That's the question we always have, and we don't want to answer, but we have a heart. But we don't want to answer.
Okay, I'll take that as he doesn't, but we'll wait and play the game and find out.
Yeah, exactly.
The animation style is very unique. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we really want to have that kind of. We want the game to be an interactive comic book adventure, meaning that we have that very caricatural animation, but also the drawing, the shapes of the character, and etc. And we want to create a contrast between this light artistic direction in terms of graphics and animation, and the setting, which is war, and especially this one, which is very, very dark. And that's something that was really important for us. So at the beginning, things are almost comical and very colorful, and the more you progress in the game, the more things will get darker and darker as the war progresses.
It's also based on the Rayman engine, I believe?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, Paul started to let's say play with the UAF engine when he was working on other projects, and because the model of the engine is bringing art to life. So for an artist, is pretty interesting. So he wanted to try it. So started to draw some stuff and implement it in the engine. And by the time some people came and say, hey, it's interesting, your drawings are potential, so what can we do with this? And so they started to bring it to life, so moving character interaction, and so we grew this way. So the build was a perfect fit for Paul, because he's not that technical guy, but the engine is so easy to use and friendly, so he could import all his stuff and build layer after layer the game we have today.
Actually, it allows us to have kind of very HD 2D games in 1080p and 60 frames per second, and that's something that Michel wanted when he created the engine, and when Paul started to work on this project some years ago now. And then Johan Fanist joined him and took this project with all his story about World War I and etc. And they built the projects together sometimes.
You're also trying to teach people a little bit about what actually happened in real life, because I noticed in the game you collect facts and there's information. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
In fact, we want to go further than just the game itself. World War I is a much more forgotten war than World War II, for instance, and so people don't know that much about the war, and we really want to use this game to teach them some details of what happened at the time. And what is really interesting, it's when you are playing the game, you see something that seems totally unrealistic, like a big cannon or a dog with a gas mask and etc. And when suddenly you have the historical fact showing it to you for real, with a picture, a colorized picture of the war, and the text, and you are like, whoa, it really happened, it really happened. And actually we are surprised how much it emphasizes even more the emotion you feel at that moment of the game. So, because you can see it really happened.
Yeah, we need a lot of playtests for this game, you know, to tune the difficulty and check the emotional rating and difficulty also. But at the end of each playtest, it was fun to talk with the guys, because most of them said it's fun because I didn't know about it, you know. And Guillaume is right. The first World War I is something more. It's not popular compared to World War II. So this generation of young people maybe don't know too much about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a topic you can talk about your father or your grandfather sometime, and so we are pleased to see people say, hey, I learned something today, and yes, it helped to because sometimes the people, the gamers, played the Battle of the Somme, Battle of the Rhine, some real events that happened, and that jumping to the screenshot, they realized how painful, how horrible sometimes was. So I think he helped to bring this emotional feeling.
Throughout the game you can collect different items. What relevance and importance do they have in the game?
Actually, these are collectibles. We have more than 100 of them in the game, and each of them is kind of unique and has a small description dedicated to it. And basically, for the player, it's cool to have some stuff to find in each level because they are hidden, and it's also interesting for them because of the cool facts which is attached to it. And actually, Walt will be very useful to find them because really often he will give you a hint, he will bark, oh, come on, you should come here, there is something. So that's one of the best parts for Walt too.
I found a couple of the items because he did just that underground and
exactly.
Buried. There's also, some of the puzzles in the game might be a little bit complicated for some people, and I notice you give guys hints through messages on carrier pigeons. Good. That's a really clever idea. How far does that go into the game, or is that throughout the game?
So you really have this int system throughout the game. Why? Because we didn't want people to get stuck when they are playing it. Why? Because it's a very story-driven game, and it can be frustrating to be stuck in a puzzle. So we really want for people who want to have a smooth experience to be able to. That's why we put a system. And if you don't want to use it, you can say, okay, I don't need this. I want to find the solution by myself, etc. But there is this option that will help players that want to use it actually. And it's very important for us that people go through the end of the game. We did this whole game with all our heart for all the team, and we want everyone to do it completely actually.
But it's also was also a challenge for us to find the right balance between the right difficulty, so it's not boring and you still enjoy the puzzles, and you can progress to the end of the game because there's many things to see.
I liked the fact that it didn't just give me the hint straight away, and then if I did look at the hint, it also said I wasn't going to get a hint for a certain length of time after that, by which point I'd actually figured out what I needed to do. So that's a very good idea. Is there anything you wanted to do in the game but just either couldn't for time reasons or for story reasons?
Actually, when we are looking at the game now, and especially when now that people are playing it and testing it, and the fact that we can discuss with them after and etc., I think all the ideas and everything that we wanted to put in the game in terms of emotion, puzzle, gameplay, almost everything.
We are happy with the game now, but of course the game is a huge topic. So the World War I, sorry, is a huge topic. So we could have talked about many other things, maybe other characters, but now the overall experience is really well balanced.
How long is the actual game, roughly?
As it's a puzzle adventure game, it's hard to say depending on the player who is playing it, and especially because when you are not stuck, but when you take time in the puzzle, it can be long. So it's quite hard to say, but it will be quite long for that kind of game, especially for that kind of digital game. It will be quite long.
So one thing I've noticed about the game is that you don't actually kill anybody, which is nice. I mean, obviously the game's about war, and usually with war games it's all about fighting and killing, but you've done something different. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, it was key for us to keep this humanity in this war, and we didn't want to do a game where you are shooting people or even where you are killing people. So actually, the player won't kill anyone in the game. It's not the player who does it, it's war. War does. And there is no really bad guy in the story. The bad guy will be war. We don't want to choose a side, and actually we have a German hero. And
it's a bad guys are not the German necessarily, the French are not the good one. War, people at this time didn't know what happened in this war. People were cheerful to go to war and say, let's save our country or let's defend. But it was horrible for everyone. So we didn't want to make any difference in these signs.
And very often when we say something about our game, for us it's not a war game, you know, but a game about war. That's important to keep and to have this humanity in this game.
It's very nice to see a game with a very dark, serious topic that is actually emotional and story driven. So well done.
Thanks. Thank you.
What's next for you guys now this game's finished?
Oh, it's almost finished. It's not finished yet. But after we'll see.
Good question. I think what would be great is because we had the chance to build a small game, and maybe we had another time
another opportunity to
this kind of game, because Montpellier is well known for its creativity, and I think there is a lot of talent there, and UB Art Frameworks is the perfect opportunity to enable this. So I hope there will be other stuff like this.
UBeart framework is such a powerful engine in 2D that it's a real pleasure to work on it, especially when you like 2D games, and we have tons of very, very talented and senior 2D artists in the studio. And for instance, when you know that Paul did all the visuals you saw in the game, all the graphics and all the visuals you see in the game are done by only one guy, who is Paul, and it's kind of impressive, and you want to do something else. And
I can tell you there's a lot of design. But
yeah, I mean, I've only played the first hour, and already there's lots of different things within that, so I'm very excited to see more. When does the game come out, and on what formats?
It will come out on June the 25th on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4 and PC.
Thank you very much for your time, guys.
Thanks.
These are their stories.